history, theories, and speculation surrounding movies and their different interpretations have been in abundance. It's hard not to watch a film and draw parallels to other characters or events from previous works. So today on Beyond the Screen, we're going to be counting down the top 10 dark film theories that change everything. Let's jump in. Coming in at number 10, Hogwarts is imaginary. J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter books and films have captivated audiences for decades now, thrusting us all into a magical world, growing to love the characters within it, and dream of one day attending Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. As we know, the story focuses on a young orphan who is rescued from an abusive family, only to learn about his magical abilities, and developing into a hero over the 7 books and 8 films. However, some fans have come to the conclusion that the story is a little too good to be true. One theory suggests that Harry's adventures actually all take place in his own mind, and that Hogwarts is actually a metaphor for a mental institution. Jeez. Coming in at number 9, James Bond is sterile. As we know from the Daniel Craig James Bond films, 007 certainly knows how to take a brutal beating. In one particular moment in the film series, Bond suffers a grotesque whipping in the genitals, forcing some fans to wonder whether he suffered any larger effects from the beating, and that perhaps the reason he doesn't worry about sleeping with a lot of women is because he is in fact sterile. Who knows? Coming in at number 8, Childs is The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing is one of the greatest horror sci-fi films of all time. However, it ends somewhat ambiguously, with the 2 survivors of the alien attack drinking beer while wondering if the other is infected with the Thing, an alien which turns its hosts into horrific mutants. It's nasty. However, some fans have endlessly debated whether either of the 2 remaining survivors are in fact infected, and that when MacReady passes Childs a beer, he is actually performing one last test. Some believe that the beer was actually filled with gasoline, and MacReady is watching on to see if Childs notices the taste. As we know, at the end of the film, Childs drinks the beer with no reaction, leaving MacReady to chuckle quietly to himself before the credits roll. Case in point. Coming in at number 7, Willy Wonka is George Weasley. This is perhaps my favourite point on the entire list. Fans have speculated endlessly over the years about the origin of Willy Wonka, some even speculating that Wonka may actually be an alias, and pushing it even further, might actually be a wizard. Jumping over to Harry Potter, we see Fred and George Weasley open a joke shop, where they have plenty of chocolates and candy that bear a striking resemblance to the Wonka products. The theory goes on to suggest that following the Battle of Hogwarts, George Weasley changed his name and began to make chocolate using his magical abilities. The evidence? Well, Wonka states that he's deaf in one ear, the same ear that George actually loses in the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Not only that, but inside Wonka's office, which is all halved in the factory, there's a half hat stand, half desk, and a half clock, almost symbolising that without his twin brother, George is only half the man. So sad. Coming in at number 6, Forrest Gump. This theory suggests that Forrest Gump is not the father of Jenny's child. Say it ain't so. To begin, this film is rather depressing. Well, really depressing. Forrest falls for his childhood friend Jenny, who grows up to be a protester and rather promiscuous. This has resulted in many fans of the film believing that any of the men Jenny slept with could be the father, and Jenny in fact manipulated Forrest so that he would take care of her son following her death. Now, this is the least believable for me on our list. When we finally meet Jenny's son, his personality is identical to Forrest's, but still, it's an interesting theory. Coming in at number 5, Kevin's mother sold her soul to the devil. Now, we covered this on our Dark Home Alone theories list, but it's just too good not to include on this one as well. In the original Home Alone, we see a young Kevin get left alone after his family forget him and head to Paris for Christmas vacation, leaving Kevin to fend for himself as 2 thieves attempt to break in. Now, the story concludes nicely as we see Kevin's mum Kate hitch a ride with a group of musicians in order to make it home to her son. However, one dark theory suggests that Kate had to go to great lengths in order to do this. According to some fans, John Candy's character Gus is actually the devil, and in order to get home, Kate had to sell her soul. The evidence? Well, fans have pointed to the fact that Candy's character appears when Kate is at a crossroads within the airport, and after stating that she would sell her soul to get home, Candy's character appears, offering Kate a ride. Coming in at number 4, Jurassic Park. This theory suggests that there are no real dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. Upon its release in 1993, scientists praised the film for its accurate portrayal of what paleontology believed the dinosaurs were like. However, in spite of this, there are many inaccuracies throughout the film. Most notably, velociraptors were a lot smaller in real life, and some researchers have stated that most dinosaurs were actually covered in feathers. Not only that, but dinosaur cloning from trapped DNA in amber is impossible, suggesting that the dinosaurs in the film are not clones at all, but instead genetic experiments. Coming in at number 3, the Joker didn't kill Batman's parents. In Tim Burton's version of Batman, Bruce Wayne's parents aren't killed by Joe Cahill, but instead by Jack Napier, the man who ultimately becomes the Joker, meaning that by the end of the film when Batman kills the Joker, he is able to have closure. However, some fans feel that the ending is too good to be true. Some believe that because of the trauma Bruce suffered at such a young age, it resulted in him projecting his killer's identity onto any enemy at any given time. Coming in at number 2, Woody ruined Sid's life. Toy Story is a film told through the perspective of a child's toys, with the main protagonists being Woody, a cowboy, and Buzz Lightyear, a space astronaut. At one point, the two find themselves trapped inside the home of a demented child, Sid, who tortures and mutilates his toys. When Buzz is in danger, Woody sweeps in, scaring Sid and revealing that his toys are always watching him. Now, of course, if we were to view this from Sid's perspective, he isn't inherently evil. How is he to know that his toys can feel pain? He's just been playing with them in an unconventional fashion. The next time we encounter Sid is in Toy Story 3, where he appears as the Garbage Man, which has led fans to argue that after being confronted by Woody, Sid changes his life goals, taking a job as a garbage man in order to save toys from the furnace, which Woody and the gang would later end up in at the end of the film. And finally, coming in at number 1, Alfred is Bruce Wayne's real father. In the world of Batman, there is no character more supportive and loyal to Bruce Wayne than Alfred, Wayne's loyal manservant. In the Christopher Nolan films, Alfred is portrayed by the insanely talented Michael Caine, who is so moving in the role to the point that some fans have speculated that Alfred may actually be Bruce Wayne's real father. The theory goes that Martha Wayne had an affair with Alfred, resulting in the birth of Bruce. Some go even further, stating that Alfred organized the hit on the Waynes to get Thomas out of the picture, but it went wrong, leaving Alfred alone to care for his illegitimate son. It's dark. Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with our list? Were there any theories that we missed? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below, and perhaps we can do a part 2. If you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another vid. And until next time, see you later.